And here we are on the Kill Your Gods podcast, wrapping up Bible month with the book of Numbers, the fourth book of the Bible. I really should have timed this out differently so I could have finished the entire Torah, but you know that popular expression, I guess Deuteronomy will have to wait. My guest this week, he is a comedian. He is a very funny man, and I can't wait for y'all to meet him. Ooh, I didn't even intend to say y'all, just kind of slipped in there. Zach Travis, how you doing?
Howdy, friends. How are y'all? We're gonna have fun tonight. I'm an expert in the Bible, and by expert I mean I've read it about 3/4 of the book of Numbers, so I feel like I kind of get the general gist of the entire thing.
See, I was interested to have you on because wait, Jesse, be a good host. Zach, before we get into anything, if you could hand out your social media handles and anything you have to promote coming up.
Gotcha. I'm not 100% sure when this is coming out, but
Monday.
Monday? All right, great. So, yeah, we'll have plenty of time. You can reach me across social media, Zach Travis, at Tugboat Sim 2019, Tugboat Sim 2019, like a fun video game where you drive a tugboat around and I'll be having two pretty important shows coming up on August 3rd. I will be competing in the second round of Philly's Funniest at Helium Comedy Club. And then the next day, August 4th, I'll be at Punchline, Philadelphia for the Punchline Philly All-Stars show. It's going to be great. There's going to be a whole bunch of folks out there, and I'm excited about both of those. I guess if you want to talk about it, I've got one episode of my podcast, History's Great Mistakes, on Spotify and across a couple of other platforms. I don't know. I've only done the one episode so far. I need to get back on it, but you know,
I love that. I love that as a premise. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's hopefully we'll get some more on there. I think the Great Depression is hefty, and it's hard to place blame on somebody for such a broad and reaching thing.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll figure that one out.
If you ever get to World War I am fascinated by the clusterfuck of fucking vegetable oil sliding down the shits of history that led to so many people dead and nothing being accomplished.
Oh yeah, that's we'll think. Well, I'm thinking about that as well. I mean, most wars are pretty simple, or not simple, but like most wars have like, oh, I can blame this and blame that, and that's pretty easy. But you don't want to just always do combat, I guess. But
right,
maybe I should probably grease the wheels a little bit on some softballs. But here we are.
When you get there, let me know. So I was interested to have you on here because you are known in the Philly comedy scene as you are one of the Alabama boys who moved up during COVID. By the way, I was fucking around on Reddit the other day, and in that fucking around, I found a post that James made like a year and a half ago asking, hey, what's comedy like in Philly? I'm thinking of moving up there. I would have never thought, but the username was like Ratboy James, which is kind of a giveaway.
Right. That's wild. Yeah. Hey, we're up here. We did it. We're here.
You did.
It's Philadelphia. All right. And you know what? For all the things anybody could say about Philadelphia, I'll say, good Lord, y'all have welcomed us with open arms, and we're sure appreciative of that.
Hell yeah. I'm sure that won't wear off any day now. But I was curious. I mean, honestly, I'm only going by the stereotype here, but when I think of the South, let alone the Deep South, that seems to be a country pretty big. Well, not country, though you may have tried. That's country pretty steeped in the Old Testament, is it not?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Sure. It's if by that you mean there are a lot of Jews there. No, there's not. No. I know about 3 Jews, and I think at least one of them hates my guts, but we don't talk about her. Anyway, sure. I think that there's a lot of steeped in religiosity, and especially steeped in the Bible. And I think a lot of people down there use what parts of the Bible they need to do whatever it is they need to. Just turns out Old Testament has a lot of that. So they pull those up. Spare the rod, spoil the child, all the Leviticus stuff that I'm sure y'all went in depth in previously. And shoot, they'd probably pull some of this number stuff out too if they could. But good God, if
It's
anyone
such
can
a
get through,
boring chapter.
if anyone can get through this, like more power to them. I would think religious scholars would be like, "Where's that from?" That's from Numbers chapter 30. Like, oh, I didn't. No, don't
Yeah.
worry about that. That was too hard to get. I'll just skip to whatever is next. I don't even know what is next.
Be funny, like, well, Deuteronomy is next. But it'd be funny,
Oh,
just like
good.
biblical scholars across the board, they just consider Numbers to be like the last Jedi of Bible books, where like
Sure.
everybody agrees you're better off if you skip it.
Hey, look, don't worry about it. It's a lot. It feels like it's the book of the Bible for accountants. I think that's
Exactly.
really
Yes.
where we're looking at.
Mhm. So before we get into our deep dive, tell me, what is your, we were talking about this before, what was your personal upbringing with religion and your understanding of religion?
Gotcha. Well, like I'm from Alabama, and if you know anything about the South, you know that it is the land of Southern Baptist. I mean, they got the whole church named after them. Honestly, I was raised Southern Baptist. I was in the church Southern Baptist, but my religious upbringing is all kind of wonky because my mother was Catholic growing up, and I was originally baptized Catholic, or what I assumed to be Catholic, considering there were so many crucifixes around. I don't know. I was really young, and I was baptized Catholic, but then we never went back to a Catholic church for some reason, probably for the best, actually,
Mhm.
considering how young I was. Anyway,
Sure.
and then we moved around from church to church to church, and it was just like, whatever. I don't know why. I won't go into it about my mother,
No,
but she's maybe not the most agreeable person, and apparently the Baptists put up with her enough. I don't know.
no,
Maybe it was just hit a different thing. Go ahead.
that is something I've heard in the South and the Midwest that is so completely alien to me. But there is a concept of like church shopping, like moving to a new area. Like, well, you got to find
Yeah.
what your church is going to be. Let's go. Let's do a little sample platter. Let's see if they can wine and dine us. Who wants us the most?
I could see that. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that wasn't a thing because that's literally all I've ever done. And we hit. There's like a giant ultra church, a mega church in Alabama where I'm from. That's Methodist, and we went there, and that didn't work out. I don't know why. It seems like you get lost, and if you're one of 2,000 people, like it just like,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter, but not a big deal. She apparently got kicked out of a church for doing the sign, which I'm only vaguely
Ooh.
familiar with. They said like, hey, we don't do that here, y'all don't come back, like something like that. A million different stories about why, but yeah, we eventually settled on a Baptist church, and I went there. And then I would go and hang out and mostly just kind of sit to myself. I don't think people do, as you know how being a child is.
Right.
And I don't know if you could tell by this mug and whether or not I was one of those cool kids. I wasn't.
No.
And then yeah, and then it was basically like I don't really have any friends at church. I don't really have any reason to be at church. None of this
I will have you
works.
know, I am picturing you as a child, and I am still picturing the mustache. I cannot make it go away.
Lord, I'd probably have more friends if I had the damn mustache back then.
You could have bought him beer, absolutely.
The amazing mustache growing boy. He's only 11, has a full handlebar. Like I'd be way more famous than I was right now. Cut. Anyway, but like, what do you call it? The church never like grabbed me, right?
Mhm.
Even the whole time, like I specifically remember one, and I'll probably let you go on or like move forward on this one. But I remember very specifically sitting in church, listening to some Sunday school about how like some of these people they just like felt it one day. They were just like, "That's it. I know the Lord has me, and I'm beloved for all of that." They felt like this like enveloping warmth, and that's when they knew they had to get baptized, and never felt it. Never felt it in my entire like never felt the connection, never felt like something different. Like when you get called, you get called. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll just kind of keep and then I don't know, I got to college and I just like didn't care anymore. And so I stopped going.
Right.
Of course, everybody goes to college, everybody reads like 4 books. And then like they're like, oh, maybe there's more. And then after that, it was just kind of like, meh. And then it really didn't help that my dad was never really a big religious guy. I think I've
Mhm.
gone to church with my dad like twice
Mhm.
ever. And I thought it was weird at the time too.
See,
So
I even had the thing where mother's family is religious, father's family is religious, but my father himself was not religious. So he would actively pick me up from CCD, which is like Catholic school if you don't go to Catholic school, and would pick me up as a child and be like, "Oh, what'd you learn?" And I tell him about Adam and Eve, etc. And say like, "Yeah, it's all horseshit. Just let you know now, all horseshit. Don't tell your mother I told you that." But
yeah, I never got the it's all horseshit, but I just got the knowing acceptance of like, yeah, I don't care. Like none of this matters. Like we just go to go.
yeah,
It's what it always felt like. And then mom's still a big believer. Dad probably doesn't. I don't know. I don't ask him about what he thinks much anymore because mostly he just tells me about the Guy Fieri episode that he just watched. And at this point, man, I could really give a rip. Some people call it atheism. I call it like, man, I ain't got time to think about it.
exactly. I'll think about that on my deathbed, like a true Catholic should, in my regard. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about the whole like, oh, I just felt the call inside me. I always remember the documentary Jesus Camp, which I believe was with some kind of Southern Baptist convention, and they're talking. The woman who runs this particular little camp is talking to a bunch of like young kids, like 10, 11, 12, and asking like, oh, when were you saved? And this one kid said, when I was 5. Like I just felt there wasn't enough to life, and I was missing something. Clearly, like a fucking grandfather poking him with a fork, saying, like, church.
Yeah, I just looked that up. Those were Pentecostals. Those people are crazy. Even the
I've
Baptists are like, whoa, listen, buddy.
Yeah.
Pentecostals are out of their mind.
We've had 2 Pentecostals on this month. I didn't know I knew 2 Pentecostals, but
That's
what
wild.
do you know?
Yeah. They take it real serious.
Mm-hmm. So let's get right into the meat of it. Like I said, anytime you have anything to comment on, we can stop and comment on it. I'm going to cue this up now because I have a whole fucking bit planned here and I don't think it's going to go well, but we're going to try. So, Numbers. God is in the tabernacle. He's talking to Moses. They're hanging out in Sinai. God tells Moses, take the sum of all the children of Israel. Grab every man over 20 and go to war as Aaron's armies, a man of every tribe, everyone head of the house of his fathers. Let's meet the big boys of the tribe of Israel. This already isn't working for me here. From the tribe of Reuben, Eliezer, a hotshot ex-con looking for one big score before going straight with his old lady to Mexico. Of Simeon, there is Shelumiel, a loose cannon with nothing to lose. Of the tribe of Judah, there is Nishan, Vietnam vet and demolitions expert. Of Naphtali, Ahira. Not much is known about him. Some suspect he may be a Canaanite that's worked his way to the inside and will betray them. Of the tribe is Sheber, Mr. Pink.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't tip and only looking out for himself. And of tribe Zebulon, B.A. Baracus, who pities the fool that does not worship at the altar of Yahweh.
Hey, there you go.
I am never doing a bit like that again. I see my YouTube numbers. I know it is not going to be enough to really justify any of that.
This is going to be great. I say we do the whole thing. Let's just write the script. Let's write let's do Snatch again, but this time.
You know what's funny?
It's just everybody's getting counted. That's it.
For all of Quentin Tarantino's historical revisionism, he has not gone back in time before the 1800s yet. I would see a Tarantino Bible movie.
Ooh, just Jesus out there licking Mary Magdalene's feet or something.
Is there a sign on my cave that says "Dead Canaanite Storage"?
That's my God, Jesus! Get Paul to come in, dropping Paul, like Quentin Tarantino starring as Paul, who just drops an unnecessary N-bomb for no reason. Like
he's going to look up the racial slurs of the time and make sure to overuse them.
Good God, I swear. Well, those movies are fun. Okay.
All right, so we get some God rules because for a guy who gave us 10 commandments, it does seem like every other page he's got to drop a ton more on us.
Yeah. He's still all about it.
Yeah. Lepers can't hang out with everybody else. They have to be outside of the tribe. Just a cleanliness thing, probably good.
All right, yeah, but let's start there. I mean, like the whole shtick of Numbers, the first thing is like, hey, Moses, what's up? Jesus or God or whatever. You don't know that I'm Jesus yet. You don't know who that guy is. Don't worry.
Mm.
We'll talk about it later. Anyway, he comes to Moses and he's like, hey, count everybody. And then like the first thing the Bible says after that is like, they did it. And like the story's over. Don't stop. Like that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
There's no more. Like, and then there's no like trials, tribulations. Like Moses just counted everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Great. But like what I love is that this first rule, the lepers aren't allowed to be in the camp, is just shoehorned halfway into like, we're going to still setting up all the tribes, getting everything ready. God, maybe make sure to listen to God, like blah, blah, blah. And then like one person, then it's just like, okay, quick aside, don't let lepers in the camp.
Oh yeah.
As if, I guess if it was a problem already, like I don't know. It seems like strange book reading.
Maybe God has a little bit of ADD. Maybe Moses. Maybe Moses. Actually, you know what I think it is? I think God is probably a babbler. So as Moses is writing all this down by hand, which he somehow knows, despite literacy not being a huge thing at the time, maybe he's writing down all the numbers and he's like, "Oh fuck, the lepers. All right, forgot about the lepers." And
by the way,
yeah. And the next one: women suspected of cheating are put to a test with oil and grain and forced to drink a bitter solution, wherein if they lie about cheating, God will make their stomachs swell and their thighs rot.
Yeah, gross. What? Let's see. Also, that rule is not if there's not if they are caught cheating, is it just their husband's like, no, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, suspected of cheating, and it's also a jealousy thing for the husband. So if they go through all this, but either way, we talked about this in the last episode that no matter what happens here, if you trespass on anything, when you're done the process, you need to slit a lamb's throat just to be safe.
Oh Lord, they're killing lambs and bulls left and right in this son bitch. Oh my God.
They're wandering the desert. They have no stable food source and they are killing livestock left and right
every day. Oh my God. And the abdomen swells. Like what's gross about this bitter water is that like if you read it, you take the water and then you just take a bunch of dirt from the temple and throw it in the water and they're all right, drink that. Which is like, okay, that's not too bad. Dust and dirt, that's not awful. Like, I guess that shouldn't work. But then you got to remember, like, the temple is where they sacrifice all of these animals, hundreds a day.
Slaughterhouse conditions.
It's just, it's the ground of a slaughterhouse, basically. Not to mention everything burned and goop and just left there to rot, I assume. So this is actually like probably a terrifying experience. Like I have to drink a bunch of old ass blood now. Okay, wonderful, perfect. No, my womb will swell. Yeah, it's my womb. I'm sure is what's swelling up.
God forbid you end up with a suspicious husband.
Yep. So it turns out don't, and also of course doesn't go the other way around. Husband, there's no rule for that. No, there's not. There's not even like an addendum like, I guess the women can. No, just nothing.
Yeah.
What if the women's cheating? Well, too bad.
Yeah, they could, again, cut a lamb's throat just to be on the safe side. But other than that,
Jesus.
Also, a lot of what we learn in Leviticus, I'm going to hell for all of this, but just how fancy God is. Like he needs the Ark of the Covenant designed a very specific way. And right here, we stop for a second to say God needs trumpets blown a special way before you can enter the tabernacle. Also, there's a cloud above it at all times because he is fabulous and knows how to make an entrance.
I just constantly, I assume they're constantly burning something, or that God is just hanging out as a giant cloud. He looks like, I guess God is a lot like Galactus in the first Fantastic Four movie, just a big old purple cloud. Oh, who's that? It's like, that's God. It's like, oh, it's a little disappointing. Like smote instantly, just gone. Dude, God is touchy. You can't, there are very legitimate concerns that all the Israelites like, hey, Moses, we've been walking around for a while now. Remember when we were in Egypt? That was pretty cool. We had all the fish and bread that we could eat. I kind of want to go back to Egypt. Is that wrong to say? And it's like, boom, all dead. Everybody who thought that, even the guy who was like, that's kind of a good, but dead, gone forever. Families don't even, God is at least listen, y'all say some shit, you're dead. But kids, chance number 2. They say anything, gone. Their kids, maybe. Like he cannot take. He has the thinnest skin of anyone I've ever met.
Well, see, that's a part of it. I mean, you would think if God personally appeared to you, at least enough that like there's a guy who pretty sufficiently is talking to him all the time. You would think everybody would be like, oh, okay, well that's God, let's follow him. And yet every 5 minutes they're like, man, fuck Moses. Please. I had like, yeah, okay, I had to drag blocks all day long back in Egypt. I had a hut. I had a shack. I had crops.
And also, and like one of the biggest like complaints, like pretty early on, is like, hey, guess what, buddy? No, we have manna. That's great. Manna, is it manna? Mana? I don't know. But like, which is, I guess, like chickpeas that just falls from the sky. I don't know. I can't.
So
there's no
kind
real
of like mush kind of.
Yeah, it's just goop that you get to eat. But then they're like, hey, we don't have any meat. Like meat would be great. And then
we all have an iron deficiency.
What are y'all slaughtering cows for? Well, can you have? And then there's so many rules. Like, I guess that you just have to give the whole cow. There's a whole bunch of really hungry people just burning whole cows. Like, boy, this would be great right now.
But the fucked up thing is in Leviticus, they mentioned that Aaron, go figure, nepotism, the big guy's brother, him and his family get to keep all the meat from it. Just them.
Okay. Great. I'm sure that's wonderful for the according to the what is it, like the nearly million people that are wandering around in the desert.
So you get ahead. That's what I have written here as the next thing. Despite being a bunch of wandering Jews, we actually get some of the numbers here. And just of the men, there are 603,550 just in the army.
It's a ridiculous amount of people.
It's like, guys, maybe stop wandering. You can just settle down and start deciding fucking anywhere at this point.
Oh my God. Like 600,000, like what city has a population? Give me a second.
Yeah. I'll just read this a little bit here. So we find out where this chapter gets its name as they break down the numbers of that generation of the 12 tribes of Israel. We find out the house of Levi will not have to perform military service because they're the priests. Again, that is Aaron's people. Did you find anything with that number?
Yeah, apparently, according to this Google search here, in the year of 2021, the city of Detroit has about 680,000 residents. So the Israelites are wandering around in 2021 Detroit numbers right now.
Oh, well, hold on. Here's an even better thing to put it into context. The population of the entire state of Wyoming is 578,000 people. Less than just the men, just the soldiers.
Jesus. Just wandering around. And like, I think there's an addendum here that even the Bible scholars are like, there's no way that's true. That's berserk. And like, there's like an addendum like, well, the way they wrote it and blah, 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 but they got nothing. Like, they're just
we're talking about 500 BC where there's like, I don't think there's that many people on the continent of Africa.
I think there's like 40 people in the world. There's supposed to be.
Okay, so God tells the Israelites to set out from Sinai. People murmur against God and are punished with fire. Because again, God
just burned them. Burned them alive.
Terrible manager. He's the manager that fires you instead of giving any warning. Like anytime you have a little bit of a gripe, he just throws a fucking pan of hot fucking oil in your face.
Did you imagine wandering around in the desert like, oh man, I'm sure I'm all about this God. This God's good. Like stub your toe on a rock, be like, ow, man, this desert kind of sucks. And like, bam, crushed by a giant boulder, just dead. God is not having it. Do not complain or the beatings will continue.
Now, the only one who's allowed to complain is Moses, who is so meek. It's mentioned that Moses is so upset about the Jews complaining. He asks God if he literally says like, you and I are cool, right? Because I mean, everybody's kind of mad at me, and are you punishing me? I've noticed that's kind of your thing. Are you punishing me?
It feels a little bit like an abusive relationship at this point. Like he's looking all around like, hey, I know I'm not saying any of that. I talked to you, buddy. You and me, we're great. This. You're not gonna turn me into a giant ball of fire, are you? Huh? Who's my guy? God? Huh? I'll go talk to him. And then he talks to him all the time. He's like, guys, don't worry. I'm talking to God. And God said, y'all are fucking up. So like that's the only answer that Moses can give them is that God said y'all are fucking up. I'm sorry, don't. And then they're like, well, that's not an answer. And then the whole city engulfs them into a giant sand pit. Like they
Guys,
just instantly get destroyed.
I'm not an asshole. I'm just dealing with the main manager. But he says that, like, people are skimming off the top. The floors have not been cleaned very well. And guys, it's my ass anyway, into the oven right now.
And then Moses hangs out. I don't know. Is Moses, it doesn't feel like Moses is doing anything other than being the conduit of God, and really he's really not doing very much other than writing all of this down, I guess. Also, there's that great line somewhere around like chapter 9 or 10 or something like that. It's like Moses was a humble man, and then in parentheses, Moses was the most humble man, as written by Moses.
Guys, I was so humble, let me tell you.
Oh my god! I tried
Anyway.
my best for everyone,
By
and
the-
they spit in my face.
I am so humble. Make me a golden chariot for my invisible friend, or he'll get mad.
He'll get mad. Start a fire somewhere. Good God.
That is how we meet him. We meet him at the burning bush.
I remember this is something that was really wacky to me. Of all the people who are complaining, it's never like, it's ever so often there'll be like a family or like these group of people or like whatever. Of all the people who do all the complaining, there's only one section where the Levites complain. And I find that to be hard to believe. I feel like if what are the Levites? Do you have any idea who these people are?
The Levites are the sons of Aaron, and they are specifically the priestly, like these are where all the priests are coming. So they're carrying the Ark of the Covenant. They're putting it down. They're setting up the tent tabernacle around it. And I presume they're doing all like the throat slitting.
I mean, yeah, okay, cool. That makes sense. And like, one of the, you can become a gross. Sorry. I don't know if you can become a Levite by doing a thing. There is like some sort of purification ritual, which is another just, oh, by the way, here's a random set of rules for doing something. And everybody looks around like, oh, okay, what up?
All you can be sure is it involves oil and blood and fire.
Yep. And then also, like, I did some research. The Levites can't own any land. So when they get Israel back, when they like go back in, that's it. Like, congratulations, everybody else gets their piece and gets to make the kingdom. And the Levites are like, well, what do we get? And he's like, the kingdom of heaven, buddy. That's pretty good, right? Like, we did all the wandering, and then like instead of doing all the fighting, they got to do all the priest. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
We were carrying the heavy shit the whole time.
But we get, imagine if there were no fights, it was just carrying, and then we're like, we found it. Like, okay, that's it. Y'all didn't do nothing but wander around. All right.
For the first time, we meet Moses and Aaron's older sister, Miriam. I see that she was actually mentioned briefly in Exodus, singing a song after parting the Red Sea. But we learn about her here because Aaron and Miriam stopped to talk shit on Moses's new wife, an Ethiopian racist.
Oh no.
Oh, she let one of them into the family. This is where we have Moses was mentioned as literally the meekest man on earth. But so God is a solid bro and is like to Moses, like, yo, they're talking shit on your girl. You can't tolerate that. And like all solid bros, he gives his boy's sister leprosy. Moses and Aaron plead for her life, ask her to be cast out for 7 days, which she is. Man, talking a little shit like, we're all concerned when our brother marries. It would be so much easier if Ethiopians weren't still a people. So I'm not going to say that. But
okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Don't say that.
But
everybody's concerned when they marry somebody and they haven't really, probably haven't spent time with them, or they have, and they're like, and I'm sure cultural differences is kind of weird, but like, hey, you love who you love, right?
But like, also, it's like, Moses, there's other shit going on. You're getting hitched right now.
Hey, listen, when the love I don't know. Sure. Yeah, there probably is a lot to do other than getting married. But hey, I mean, God bless how long the numbers doesn't talk about, because Exodus, how long were they out there?
Oh God, I don't even know at that point, because it's in this chapter where they get sentenced to wander for 40 years, I think. So we're not even at like the big one that's big enough that they mention it. They might have been.
Yeah.
This might be 4 weeks out of Egypt for all we know.
They're putting a lot of rules in, I guess. Maybe, yeah. It's a lot of people die in 4 weeks if we're talking about 4 weeks. But yeah, but I think that's great. Is again punished with leprosy, and I guess another miracle of 7 days. Oh, good, my leprosy cleared up. Don't worry, I'm back, guys. Everything's fine.
So I had a question on this topic. Can you remember a time where you hated on a friend's girlfriend, and if there was any negative backlash for that? I personally don't have an answer because I was always the one with this shitty girlfriend that my friends were whispering about.
No, I think I am also in that boat. I don't know. I don't think I've ever like. Well, that's not true. No, I did have a friend who had a girlfriend who was dangerous, actively dangerous, like actively broke into his home and like messed with stuff and broke things. And we were all like, "Hey, you can't do that." And if Miriam was that way, I'm not saying anything. Or not Miriam. If Moses' wife is Moses' wife unnamed? It's like, oh yeah, Moses' wife who was Ethiopian.
Yeah, she's just an Ethiopian. I also I assume because of the setup here, she's probably one of several.
Sure. Okay. I don't know. If that was the case, I could see maybe Miriam and Aaron be like, man, he needs some help. Like that's bad. But no, it's apparently there's not. Moses didn't deem to mention that there were any issues, so I assume everything was fine. Nah, I don't know.
But wait a second. Where the fuck did they even find an Ethiopian? They're wandering Jews. They didn't go to Ethiopia.
Lord, you got me, buddy. I don't know where the hell anybody finds anything out in the damn desert. Like, I mean, they say desert. It can't be the desert. No one could live in the desert, obviously, but whatever.
You know, let me see if I can pull that up because I know it says they are in the Sinai Desert. So here, let me actually do a screen share again. So yeah, you can see on this map that and of course the whole thing gets small. Yeah, the yellow and orange parts, I believe, are the desert. So it takes up a good chunk of Sinai. I also believe that they are more over to the right because this area over here with Jordan and Saudi Arabia, I think that's where the Moabs are that we're going to be talking about in a minute. Okay. They do a little seducing of some nice Jewish boys.
Oh Lord, we're not even at like a quarter of the way through this damn book, are we?
Actually, no, we're almost. So much of the end is just like 1, 2, 3, 4, like done.
Okay, all right.
Let me put it this way. In my notes, I have 4 pages of notes, and we are halfway through the second page.
All right, cool. All right, great.
Yeah. All right. So
I will admit this book is very boring. If you are reading the Bible, man, Spark Notes this one. Numbers, not a lot of fun to get through.
No, not at all.
There's a lot of counting, a lot of it really does. It feels like a lot of secretarial work that they were just like, yeah, we got to write all this down. Just here you go. The rules, there's some rules that I guess you got to get to, but I feel like they talk about most of those in Leviticus, and it's
right.
I mean, sure, there wasn't a specific rule about not letting lepers in the camp, but I think everybody was kind of like, yeah, don't. Those guys are gross. Like, don't let them in. Yeah. Then the extra rule of the like, hey, if your wife cheats on you, she could die. Fuck her. Like, horrible garbage. And then it's just really a big book of like, remember, pay attention to God. Do whatever God tells you, no matter what, all the time, or he will fuck you and your whole family. Sorry, them's the ropes, buddy.
With fire at that. So
fire. There's the whole part where it's one of, is it Aaron or is it somebody else's family who just gets sucked into like a sinkhole and the whole family's gone?
We're gonna get to them. We're gonna get to them.
All right, gotcha. All right, cool.
The Israelites head out to the perimeter of Canaan. Spies report that the land is rife with milk and honey, but other spies say it's inhabited by giants. Israelites are afraid of giants. Again, that's a new Jewish stereotype I didn't know. Controlled the banks, controlled Hollywood, terrified of giants.
Terrified of giants. Horrible monsters they are.
They refuse to enter. God is so pissed off at their lack of faith that he condemns them here to wander the desert for 40 years because God does not like skeptics.
Yeah, I read through that bit, and there was only the two. It was Aaron, I think, or Aaron's son, who was like, "Yeah, no, it's cool, it's great there," and then everybody else was like, "No, it's scary. We don't want to go. We should just settle here. This is great. It's like look at all the cows we have, like kind
Yeah.
of a thing." Uh, and I can't exactly remember. I guess even after the census and after they're like, because I guess with 680,000 people, they looked at the Canaanites and were like, nope, too good. There's too many of them. And then because Canaan must have been fucking huge. Must have been damn New York out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of damn, where was Canaan? Let's find out.
Yeah, Canaan had they had just come out of a depression and a war, so they had a bit of a baby boom going on there.
Okay,
in Canaan.
sure.
While you look that up, we get a great detail. An Israelite is caught gathering wood on the Sabbath, so he is rounded up and stoned to death.
He just beat the
just like that. God's stoked about it. He also tells the Israelites to always wear tassels on their clothing to remind them of the commandments. I think that's why we have the Orthodox Jews will wear the prayer shawls underneath the shirts, and sometimes you can see the little tassels dangling out at the bottom, all because a guy had to gather wood.
Yeah, that's pretty wacky. It seems like hey, I don't know, it's cold. Can I gather wood? Like, no. Oh, okay. Well, is there? Oh, my bad. I did it. Like, is there like I got to do like a prayer or something? No, we kill you. How's that sound?
Should have done it before the Sabbath.
Like, what? Oh, Lord.
God is snoozing. He doesn't want to have to be looking after you going through your battle.
And I think it's like one book later, it says, well, if you sin and you didn't know it, don't worry. Well, there's like a sheep or something you got to do.
Yeah. No, he changed his mind then, but too late to save Zedekiah.
It's like Jesus with that fig tree. He just like lost his mind one day. Like, God damn, take this fig tree. Like, okay, chill. Jesus, like this one guy is gathering wood. Do you want us to do something? Like, yeah, murder him, crush his skull with stones. Okay. And like, what do you say no to God? He's like try to trick God by like, put a melon out and they're like, that's him. Got him.
Also, it'll be your skull being squashed next if you fucking know. So did you figure out what Canaan was?
Yeah, Canaan is apparently all of modern day, what would be modern day Israel or Palestine or just north of Egypt, west of Saudi Arabia. Let's say that wherever, because I'm not a Middle Eastern scholar, if this is even the Middle East, because I'm an idiot also. So we'll just leave it at that, where it is. So, give you a general idea.
Nice. All right. So we get to the fellows you were just talking about. Korah, two other Jewish leaders, and over 250 other leaders threaten mutiny against Moses. They are jealous that God speaks only to him. Moses drops to his knees and says, let me take this to the big guy. But he also lashes out at them. And then the two leaders rightfully point out, like, you took us out of the land of milk and honey to starve in the wilderness. God invites them to basically bring him over here. Let me talk. Very like mob boss. Bring him over. Let's talk. And while he's talking to them, he opens up the ground beneath them and kills the three main rabble rousers. And then fire shoots out and consumes the rest.
What? This absolutely berserk. The doling out numbers is other than the whole census thing, is just a doling out of punishment of people who do not listen to Moses, which I guess if you take very seriously is why you don't cut your hair and wear tassels all the time. Sure, why not? God's mad. He's gonna be mad and he will stay mad. So
maybe that's why they counted all the Israelites at the beginning of this chapter, so we can see just how many we lost along the way by the end.
Or maybe how little it means to God to throw so many away. Look at all of my people, throw them into the trash. Like he's playing with them. Like do you remember the scene in Futurama where they throw the tiny robots at I don't know. That's
where they're just
like, look what I can do. Like just throwing them into the fire. Like this is fun. Good God. That's sure niche reference for you, I guess. That one.
Oh no, that's a great one.
that 10-second bit from that one episode of Futurama in the late series that nobody got to watch.
That was from Beast with a Billion Backs. That's where they're demonstrating that organic matter can pass through the time rip, but electronic matter does not. And they demonstrate that by throwing a bunch of tiny robots immediately to their death. And it's a lot of fun.
Hooray. It's a little bit like the Israelites and God, I assume. I think Bible scholars will.
That was a biblical reference on Futurama.
Yeah, sure.
So we get a strange test to see which house will remain the priests by all the leaders of the tribes putting symbolic rods in like a thing to be chosen. And then the next day, Aaron's rod, again, nepotism, like, oh, the leader's brother won. His rod begins blooming with flowers and almonds, showing that God has chosen the Levites. I really only bother to mention that because this rod will be later put into the Ark of the Covenant. It's one of like the 3 things that are in there.
Yeah, I was skimming at that point, and I was like, a rod with the bloom, and then like they just stopped talking about it, and I was like, okay, cool, I guess his rod was great, awesome, and then they just move forward. Like it's just like, that's it. It's just a little writing to say, it's Moses writing that, yo, my son, badass, dude. God loves that SOB. That's it, I guess. I do like the Passover rule is that it at least one like redeeming quality of numbers is the rule that, hey, if Passover's happening, you got to celebrate. Do your best. If you can't make it, hey, don't worry. We'll do it some other time. But
mandatory paid time off.
But you got to do it. So if you don't do it, I'll probably stone you to death. I don't think there's an actual meted out punishment. But also included in Passover are foreigners who live amongst you. So if there's a foreigner visiting, you got to invite them over for Passover. God told you to do it. So that's nice. God is like also thinking about, well, I'm not going to make people not eat the bitter herbs and unleavened bread and that one piece of meat that you get, I guess. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's happening.
You know what I think this is? I think this coincides with God's vacation. God's going off to another guy. This is like when the principal wants to go on vacation. So he makes everybody else like, go. Like, well, I've worked at a lot of restaurants, and one thing you learn is the owner or manager of the place really does not trust fucking any of you. And he would rather shut down the whole fucking shop for a week than trust any of you cretins not to fuck all of it up.
I could, that makes sense. Like, hey, listen, I need all y'all to not pray for anything and to just have a good week. What about the foreigners? Won't they pray? Like, all right, I'm not even answering like weird messages I get on my, y'all better not call me. None of y'all better call me.
I am on the beach in Alpha Centauri. Don't call me for nothing.
That's pretty good. Thanks Jesus for including us. What was it? Gentiles? Are all non-Jews Gentiles, or is it only Christians who are Gentiles?
Gentiles are just non-Jews.
Hell yeah! Thanks for inviting all the Gentiles to come along with us. We enjoy going to parties.
God orders Moses to make plates to cover the altar. There's some murmuring amongst apparently murmuring is what they said to complain about it.
A lot of murmuring amongst the Israelites.
So murmuring amongst the Israelites. So God strikes them with the plague and kills 14,000 with them. So now we are down to like 600. With all the other people, we're down to like 600. With gods like these, who needs devils? That's what I would like to know.
This is again, it's just something about talking about the plague. Aaron is declared by God responsible in equity, committed with sanctuary. Yeah, this is goofy, but sure, why not? Yeah. Oh yeah, they bring out the censers or whatever, and they crush all the censers into plates after all the people who died and brought out, like, I don't know. That was some shit I read. And again, like I said, skimming at this point, really have no idea what's going on in this book. It just seems to be like God was mad. God kept getting mad. God killed a bunch of people. Everybody shut up for a while. Then they got mad again. So God got mad and killed a bunch of people. And then bop, 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 there we go. Easy peasy.
Well, in all the death, we have a notable death. Miriam dies.
Oh no.
Kadesh Barnea.
No, not Miriam. She had such great roles with the having leprosy and then not having leprosy.
And being a bitchy sister-in-law.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, rest in peace, Miriam. You will be missed. But
by someone. I don't know. I guess Aaron, maybe. I don't know. That's not his wife. It's just his sister, right?
right, just sister. But I don't know. This was also
Whatever.
the time.
I guess you can miss your sister. That's fine. That's a very normal thing to do.
No, that's a pussy thing to do.
You're right.
They couldn't hack it. That's why they died. They were left behind.
Boom. Tossed in what I assume to be a ditch with fire all in it.
Of course.
Did I read this right? That are we getting to the point like Aaron also dies?
We get to that point. We'll get there.
Okay.
We're not there.
All right.
We get now. Israelites.
Sorry, guys. Bible spoilers. My bad.
That's fine.
It's only been out for a couple thousand years. My bad if you haven't gotten to it yet.
I was going to get it when it got to Netflix. Fuck. All right. Israelites set out from Moab, which is on Canaan's eastern border. The Israelites are pissed at Moses that there's no water. They quarreled with Moses and pretty much said, this is a direct quote from the Bible, if only we had died when our brothers fell dead before the Lord, which is a very melodramatic Jewish thing to say.
Oh, I'm so thirsty. I was really close to doing an old New York Jewy voice. I'm going to stop myself right now.
I would have been better off dying at my mother's.
Okay. Yeah, so there's no water. That one. It's you're in the desert. There's no water. Like that is a legitimate complaint. That's like any leader, like, hey, there's no water, buddy. Like, and like, what does Moses say? Like, you just got to trust God. It's like, okay, where's the water, buddy? Like, here's
the thing. God comes to the rescue and tells Moses to bang his cane on a rock and water gushes forth out of it. But God is still so fucking catty about the whole thing that they didn't trust him to not let them die at first. He punishes Moses and saying, no, we're not going to Canaan after all.
And yeah, it's like it's like you're taking a vacation. Like your dad is always like, we're going to go to Disney World. Don't worry. We're going to go to Disney World. We'll go to Disney World. And you're like, okay, when? And they're like, well, soon. And you're like, okay, sure, fine. And then you just sit around. And it's like almost end of summer. And you're like, Dad, I'm about to go back to school. Like, are we ever going to go to Disney World? And then he's like, okay, you guys want to go to Disney World? Fine. And he puts everybody in the car and you all drive out to Disney World. And there goes Disney World. And you're like, yay, Disney World. The Travis has been so long. I'm so happy to get Disney World. And then he just passes right by and drives right into the ocean and swims out, killing all of you. Like, what? Why punish everybody? It was a legit. You said there would be water, and then they just didn't have it. And then when they were like, please, God, give us some water, he's like, fine, now some of y'all have to die.
Yeah. God is equal parts like shitty deadbeat dad and like very like unsatisfied girlfriend. Like, cannot be.
Yeah. It's nothing is good enough except knowing, like, just never opening your mouth. No. That's like, there's no like, help, I'm dying of thirst in the middle of the desert. Can God do something? Oh, fine, if you need to ask. And then you do something and it's like, great, thanks for the water. What now? It's like, how about another 20,000 of you get burned to death? How about that? How about we do that one?
Well, Zach, I will tell you what now. What now is, despite coming all this way, Aaron suddenly dies on Mount Hor. And, I'm wondering if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's Hor, so I don't really know how you pronounce that.
Here in the Wikipedia entry, they just, it's, I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry now. There's just one sentence, and it just says, Aaron dies on Mount Hor. No background, no like, oh, because of this or that. Somebody on the Wikipedia just does not want to get into. I think Moses also wrote the Wikipedia here. Yeah, then my brother died. Oh, how? I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the book says that they went up on the mountain, Moses, Aaron, and his son, and Moses, Aaron's son, Z something, went up on the mountain, and Moses said, all right, Aaron, you got to take off all your clothes and give them to the old Z boy. And then he did. And then suddenly Aaron died. Oh,
how? I believe God gave him the heads up that says Aaron is going to die there.
Yeah. And like, how is it? Yeah. And exactly. How did he die? I was like, well, he probably froze to death on the top of a damn mountain with no damn clothes on. How's that? Moses, that's not a miracle. That's not just like, oh, it's fucking. Moses just killed that dude. He killed his brother by not letting him wear clothes on top of a mountain. I'm saying it. That's my Bible hot take. That's my numbers hot take right now. Moses, murderer. Boom. Got it.
Boom. All right.
You
So
can
I'm
take
trying to
that
look
one
this up.
to the bank.
So we don't know what Mount Hor is. You would think if it's a mountain, it would still be around. I'm going to type in Mount Hor. Mount Hor elevation. It says 2,600 feet, but that's in Vermont. So unless I missed,
hang on now, that's may not be that cold then.
Made a left turn at the Aphramites, and we ended up in the Granite State. Wait, that's New Hampshire. My bad. Okay. So yeah, Aaron, rest in peace. He is survived by Moses, preceded in death by his sister Miriam. The king of Edom will not let them pass, so they must go around it. We get a lot of weird shit right after the other. Israelites are bitten by flying snakes for speaking against God and Moses. A bronze snake is made to fight off these serpents and literally cure the venom.
I remember this one. This is just, and the only advice is to if you get bit, look at the bronze snake in this thing. You'll be fine. And everyone was. Look at that. Has medicine thought about this one for a while? I don't understand. Like, it seems like snake bites are pretty dangerous. And
who needs anti-venom when you can just? That's actually, it's very like homeopathic, where they're like, well, cures like. So if you're killed, so if you get bit by a poisonous snake, if you look at like a bronze one, that'll clear right up. All right, one of my favorite parts. Actually, no, I'll say my favorite part of not a very entertaining book is the Israelites arrived to Moab. The number of males are now numbered around 601,000. So I was right, actually. When I said like, oh, the numbers are down, we're literally down like 50,000 that he mentioned before.
And of course, again, just the fighting men. Not we lost 80,000 fighting men in the desert somewhere to who knows what. Oh my goodness, no one could tell. And that's not to mention all of the non-fighting, the elderly men, all of the women, all of the children who also were just burned. And no one needs to count them. Don't worry about that.
Nope, don't count. No. All right, I was wrong. We have a little bit before my favorite part. We meet Balaam, who is a non-Jew in Moab. Yeah, I don't know.
This was just wacky. This is just a total side note. Like, there's 3 books. What is it? Okay, it's the book of Numbers. Is it chapters and verses?
Yes, the verses are literally like the sentence, I believe, or like a sentence or two.
There's like 4 chapters on Balaam and no introduction.
Nope, he's just there.
By the way, Balaam's here.
Yeah,
who's that?
He's a sorcerer.
It's very poor book writing. It just kind of like pops out of nowhere. There's no introduction. You just have to go in like, all right, talking about Balaam now. Great.
Hey, according to all this, it was supposedly Aaron had a good hand in writing the Bible. Aaron's gone now. So maybe Moses has been trying for years to fit in like, could we talk about Balaam? Maybe he's such a good character. Moses, no, it throws the whole fucking story off. You should take your coat off on the mountain. What? All right, Balaam's getting in.
Yes. Boom. Got him. All right, Zebulon, Aaron's son. Don't you? I'm going to write the Bible for a while, but you'll probably get a chance to talk. Nope, just Moses from here on out.
So we meet Balaam, a non-Jew in Moab, sent by the king to curse the Israelites. God speaks to Balaam in a dream, and he refuses to leave the Jews. God then changes his mind and orders Balaam to return to Moab. But again, shitty girlfriend gets all pissy when he does what God says. This is so funny. Sends an angel to block the way, but Baal can't see the angel, though his donkey can. Since he can't see, Balaam keeps beating the donkey. The donkey fucking speaks.
Yeah.
Donkey says,
there's some old school there's some Greek magic for you. Like, by the way, donkey's talking now. Like, okay, sure.
Yes. Eddie Murphy as Balaam's donkey.
There you
go. And Brady says, like, dude, there's an angel. Stop beating me. And I can't even summarize the rest of what happened.
Balaam's just like, oh wait, there's an angel, and he like turns around like, and there's the angel like sitting there like, did you not see me? He's like, oh, I didn't see you. My bad, dude. And the angel's like, yeah, dude, I was gonna kill you, but that donkey just wouldn't get close enough, I guess, because I guess angels can't move in the mortal realm. They couldn't have just walked up to Balaam and stabbed him with his sword. He had to wait for Balaam to get to him, and this donkey saved his life several times. I don't
Yeah.
know. I call
Oh,
BS, but whatever.
I'm sorry. I couldn't see you in the stark nothing of the Sinai Desert. Ugh.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, either Balaam honestly couldn't see him or he is a good liar, I guess. It's just like, yeah, I didn't.
I didn't see
Donkey,
you
keep
there.
going. Just keep going, donkey. Just go. They're like, I guess angels are like T-Rexes. If you ignore them, you just keep going through.
If you stand completely still, the Archangel Michael can't see.
Where'd y'all go? I'm so mad.
Okay, God's gonna fucking throw me into hell again. But Balaam gives out a prediction that in a trance he sees a great warrior that will rise from the house of Jacob and destroy the Moabites. He also predicts the destructions of the other non-Israelite tribes. Here Moses orders. All right, this is my favorite part of the whole book. Moses orders the Israelites to massacre the people of Midian in retaliation for the Baal Peor incident. The Baal Peor incident is a bunch of Israelite men are seduced by Moabite women and they worship their gods. Because you get a little bit of pussy and the only kindly neighbor, like, yeah, come down, have a meal, worship my God, have a cocktail. Like, well, I don't want to spoil the mood, so I guess I will bow. If it'll get me in her panties, let me bow to this like half goat, half lion fertility god.
Sure. Why not? We're all having fun. I've had a terrible time out here in the desert. Maybe something good. Oh, look, I live with a group of people and they like me and we have sex. Awesome.
You mean there's nobody here actively consuming you in fire every day?
Surprise.
Wowza. All right, this one's a little crass, but still. So from your personal life, can you think of the worst thing you ever did to get a little bit of action? I will give you mine while you think.
Sure. I got to think about that one.
I was in Wisconsin. This was a little bit after my dad had died. I had not gotten laid since my dad died. And me and a bunch of friends were visiting somebody. It's 2 a.m. at this bar, and this girl I was not attracted to, I'm not going to get more specific. I was not attracted to, basically just kind of hoofed it at me, convinced me to go back to her house. So I did, but I was the drunkest one. So they sent like my friend to go along with her. My friend was also the sexiest amongst all of us. Long story short, I sexually assaulted myself in one room while he had to fight off the girl's roommate all night long, to the point where literally she got up to use the bathroom at one point and he locked her out for the rest of the night. So
nice.
Wasn't even anything terrible I did. I was just a bad liability to my friends.
Gotcha. Well, that's, hey, I can't think of a damn thing. I don't know if
you're a better person than me, and this is how you
guys don't know about this, but old Zachy boy, but he does not get a lot of action. So it really is not like it's I probably would do some bad things if the time ever presented itself, but so far I'm A-okay.
Well,
it's all about the story you tell, not just about the story that no one wants to read, which is like the Book of Numbers, which would be my sexual life is a lot like the Book of Numbers. Not really a lot going on. Maybe some rules.
650,000, Zach.
And then a bunch of stuff that's just like, what are we talking about again? Yeah, Balaam. You guys remember Balaam, right? I thought what are we talking about? Good God. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of anything that I've done for.
Well, that's good. If you're in a dry streak, just remember a desert in its own right. If you're in a dry streak, just remember once you get out of it, don't worship any gods for it, because
turns out
you don't know.
Turns out it doesn't matter. It might last for several years, which it looks like it did. But then all of your distant relatives will show up and murder all of you, apparently.
Well, that's right. You're getting right to it. So they kill all the men of Midian, capturing all the women and the children. And after a short breather, God orders them to then slay all the little boys and then all the women who have ever slept with a man, which there were some hymen checks, I assume. There was some slut shit in there.
Good God.
harsh.
Massacre of the people. Yeah, that's some. Yep. That's a lot. It's a lot, God. It's a lot to.
Why do they have to capture them all first, only to kill them after? You could have just killed them all right away.
This is classic, like Old Testament God. He's just like, I don't fuck around, y'all.
Nope.
You just time to die. I'm a God of death and vengeance. Get used to it. This is a far cry from New Testament Jesus God, who's like, hey, hey, you fuck up? Hey,
Yep.
don't worry about it. Don't be a fig tree. Don't collect coins in the temple. We're good.
Yep,
it's fine.
That's New Testament versus Old Testament. Old Testament is consumed by fire, and New Testament is I brought pizza. Let's have a good time.
Guys, come on. It's not that eternal life, not that important. We'll figure it out. You got a whole I'm gonna do a whole thing. Don't worry. I'll tell you later. Good God. Yeah, I did not get that far in the book. I guess this might be what Bible scholars would call like, dude, you got to get through the first part because there's this whole wild shit that happens afterwards. I don't know. I got to Balaam and I was like, what's going on? Like, what is, the donkey, like, you can't curse. Like, Balaam, of course, like, we didn't really mention it. Balaam is like, they pay Balaam to like curse the Israelites. And he's like, can't, trying. He's like actively like, I'm trying to but only good. And also, apparently, if you put, according to the Old Testament, putting a curse on someone, it just means saying mean shit about him.
Right.
Because apparently a blessing is just saying like, yeah, they're great. They're gonna rule everything. Hooray!
But
like
that's the weird thing. There's also the weird thing here where God pretty much says to Balaam that like anything you say about the Israelites, I will put into your mouth. So God is kind of like Jeff Dunhaming him like a ventriloquist puppet. And he's even straight up like talking to the king of Moab, like I can't say anything bad about them.
He won't let me. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
That's also good for Balaam. That's a great way to get out of both of the situations of, hey, I want you to kill these people because their God's really strong. And you're like, what? And if their God comes to you, it's like, yeah, God's making me say good stuff. So, hey, I guess I gonna leave now. I don't get killed, right? And like Balaam's not killed, right? He just we just stop talking about him and he goes away.
I mean, that'd be pretty great as a side character if he just shows up and he's between these two warring factions that are killing everything, and he just finagles his own way to just slip out.
I don't want to do any of this. Yeah. I've lived in the dead. Like I ride a donkey. I'm not a rich man. Okay, I just don't want to get stabbed over a tribe of people who I've literally never met. Yep, I don't even know anything about them other than, their God came to me.
No, he just escaped, and somewhere in a pot in the desert, we have the gospel of Balaam and his talking donkey. That would have ended every war ever fought. But
great job, buddy. You know what? I couldn't have done it better myself. So proud of you. Proud of all the work you're doing.
All right,
so we get through Midian.
We're wrapping it up here. We got the Reubenites and the Gadites request Moses assign them the land east of Jordan. That's where all this. There are still like about 10 chapters left from where we are, but almost all of it deals with inheritance, and it's not even interesting for the time. If I was one of the Reubenites or the Gadites, I would not find it interesting either. They request Moses assign them the land east of Jordan. Moses says yes, as long as you conquer the areas west of Jordan. This comes to pass and the land is divided. The only thing interesting here, Moses names Joshua as his successor because he's going to die in the next book. Moses orders the Israelites to exterminate the Canaanites and destroy their idols because I guess they're not worried about giants anymore.
Sure.
And that's it. The only other thing we get here, and this could be interpreted as an environmental passage in the Bible, although he very specifically is referring to blood. As do not pollute the land with blood, for I live in this land. So pretty much God saying like, if we're gonna be roommates, don't dirty this place up. I want you guys to do your dishes, clean up your lamb's blood, and murder all the Canaanites.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be a land of blood. Like, God, how do you want us to fight this war? Like, oh no, the war's gonna happen after. There's going to be a lot of blood.
Yeah, guys, do we have to? After that, keep it clean.
Yeah. No, don't worry. Canaanites, last thing. Then best stuff. I assume so this is Deuteronomy. I'm again I would what you would call a Bible scholar, but I would refer to myself as an extremely bad Bible scholar. Deuteronomy is next. Is that
Yeah.
what's that? That's King
You know what?
Joseph, right?
Yeah,
Joshua something?
it is
Is that
going to
where that comes
be.
from?
I'm not entirely sure.
I've seen listen, I've seen a Bible.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see what you know about the Bible.
I'll be honest. Here, I do not know a lot. I'm trying to pull up a summary of the Book of Deuteronomy because honestly, if I ever get around to this, it's going to be on Patreon or it's going to be a while from now. Literally next month, we're starting Harry Potter, and that's going to eat up half a year of this podcast.
Okay, so we're just gonna stop. We just got to find somebody else to do Deuteronomy, I guess.
Like I said, I think I'll be all right. Chapters 1-4. They journey through the wilderness and Moab. Okay, yeah, they recall what they already did. We talk about the 10 Commandments again. It feels like we're really just like talking about all the same shit. I'm not seeing a lot of action here. The very end, Joshua is installed as Moses' successor. Moses delivers the law to the Levites, ascends a mountain where he dies and is buried by God. And that's it.
Oh wow! So like we don't even there's no payoff. Like Numbers is like Numbers feels a lot like The Empire Strikes Back. Like, hey, dude, we're ramping up.
That's right.
And Deuteronomy is supposed to be the Return of the Jedi, and it's just not.
No,
Like it's like I guess I knew that. I knew that they didn't take Israel, right? They don't kill the Canaanites, do they?
I mean, they come to the promised land, and I think that is it. I think that is where, like, they've probably. Well, no, I don't think they have done it yet. Just because I know the whole thing is that Moses dies right before they make it to the promised land of Israel.
Huh?
So it's possible Moses dies at the end of that, and maybe it's the book after that, the book of Joshua, where they do the actual killing. I don't know.
Sure, why not? Oh well,
Right.
I mean, I guess God does. This could be like a rewrite, but God does say like none of the people who are wandering right now are going to make it to Israel. So
Right.
okay,
He
sure.
needs to
Technically,
punish an entire generation.
Moses is one of those people. So sure, why
Mm.
not? He doesn't get into the promised land. Why not?
That's
And
right.
see, that
God,
seems kind of shitty. That's a shitty thing for like, hey, yeah, it was the guy. It was me, Moses. Like I did the whole thing. Like I get to go, right? Like no,
no.
what? I told you the whole generation. That's you, idiot. Like, oh,
Aw.
oh,
I feel meeker than ever.
oh, I'm so humble though. It's fine.
It's
And
okay.
then
He got to bang that sweet Ethiopian wife that
and
whole
then
time.
also Moses had rock hard abs and a huge dick.
They
Can we keep that?
They talk about his staff quite a bit. So
Hey, it's the Book of Numbers. Again, yeah, I guess it gets better at the like 3/4 of the way through.
yeah, it's like I like the Moabite women seducing them, but other than
That's like
that, it's a bit of a slog.
yeah, there's not a lot. Like I said, I definitely started skimming like even after like I started skimming like book 3 after they were like, and this family had this many, and this family's like, I don't need to know that. That's
Nope.
you know what? Well, I'll get a summary of that. I don't. Who are these people? It's like reading a damn J.R.R. Tolkien book. It's like okay, I don't need to know any of these people, right?
Right.
No, okay, great. It's like the first chapter of the Lord of the Rings. Like, who are these? It's Gimli, son of Gloin. Like, nope, don't
Hey,
care.
the
Done.
Hobbits do a lot of wandering. Is it very possible that Frodo and Moses are one and the same? I
think
know.
I would definitely think that this is. I think there's definitely like a Jesus kick to it. It's just not as literal as say, what do you call it? Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where it's like, hey, the lion's Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like this one. The Hobbit's Moses. Like, it is he? And I mean, and if you were to take, be the Hobbit, that like from why base so much of it on how Numbers is written with all of the names and all of the people? Like, not a big deal. Anyway,
all right. Was that's the Book of Numbers? We did it.
There it is. That is maybe the worst summary of the Book of Numbers anyone has ever put together. So,
oh yeah.
I think we did good. I think we did great.
I'm
sure
very
we
happy
didn't
with
miss anything.
Nope.
And we'll probably be getting a call from the Vatican pretty soon, I assume.
Yeah,
To come.
for an attaboy. Come
So,
give us.
yeah. Hey, come on down, guys. Whenever you're in Italy, come on to the Vatican. Well, technically, you'll be in the Vatican. It's its own country. Anyway,
Hey, you want an altar boy? Take him for a spin.
Hey, careful with that joke.
Woo.
It's very real, and that's very scary.
I was an altar boy. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But
All right, sounds like a plan.
All right, Zach, tell us again where we can find you, what you got coming up.
You got it. Again, if you guys want to listen to my dumbass anymore, you can check me out across social media at Tugboat Sim 2019. That's right. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, I guess. I'm never on that. Venmo's a really good one to reach me on if you want to reach me on at Tugboat Sim 2019. Cash App also, same one. Hey, come on down. Give me some damn money. I am broke. Or you can also check me out in person in Philadelphia. 2 shows coming up. August 3rd at Helium Comedy Club for my Philly's Funniest, and August 4th at Punchline Philadelphia Comedy Club for the Punchline All-Stars, Philadelphia All-Stars. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be great fun. And you know what? I'll take this time to go and write the rest of the Great Mistakes of History on Spotify and across all the other stuff, and we'll figure it out.
Nice. All right, guys, go check that out where you can. Zach, thanks for being with us. I'm going to end this like every other podcast. I'm going to stop recording, but you and I can talk for a second later. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Harry Potter. Later. Bye.